Hello and welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. My name is Harry McBain and joining me is Bobby Addison as usual. And today we're going to be doing a review of the transfer window, the January transfer window. Now that it's Friday, Friday the 5th of February, I think. So we shouldn't really have too many free transfers going about. So we're just going to assess how the transfer window has gone for the clubs in the Premier League. We've got a tier list maker thing here because we thought we might spice it up a bit. So let's get straight into it, Bobby. First off, in our list, Arsenal. Let's have what have your thoughts?
Well, I mean, generally, you wouldn't assume that it would be that good. I mean, it's not bad at all. But I think in comparison with a lot of other teams and the amount of business in the time at the moment, is not really that much happened. And I think, Rekic, I think that's a good signing. Obviously, a young centre back. I think he's playing in the under 23s. I'm not sure how consistently. And obviously, Matt Ryan's coming on loan from Brighton, injured, unfortunately, which should be quite handy right now. But yeah, that's a decent signing. Obviously, the highlight of that, Erdegaard, he's a quality player, and hopefully we see a decent amount of him. But I do think probably the main focus point is the people that have left. So obviously you've got Kolasinac has gone out on loan, Saliba's gone out on loan, Matt Macey, Socrates, Mesut Ozil, Matt Smith, and then Mustafi, Maitland-Niles, Willock. There's a lot of wages freed up. So I do think it has actually been, I think I would say, a decent transfer window for Arsenal in terms of ins and outs.
So just to for anyone listening without being able to watch this visually, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, our options are a strong transfer window, a decent transfer window, an average transfer window, a poor window, or a bad window. So Arsenal going in there first at decent, and then I'm gonna move on to Villa now. It wasn't really much happening down at Villa Park. They brought in, I think, Sanson, the midfielder, 26 from Lyon or Marseille. They brought him in for about 15 million. They managed to get out Henry Lansbury, I think, on a free transfer or a cheap one. He got released, and Conor Hourihan's out on loan at Swansea. So I mean, not really anything to shout about. So I was going to put them into the average column because there wasn't really much that you could get excited about.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And
so
obviously then next to Brighton, they have brought in Moise Caicedo. I've probably butchered that name, but he's coming from Independiente. I don't know much about him. I don't even know how good he is. And they've released a decent amount of players. Obviously, Matt Ryan has come to Arsenal. I'm sure they will be a little bit disappointed about that, but obviously he's not getting as much game time. So I think, it's not the worst thing to happen to them. But I do think based on their situation, they're not doing the best in the league. Obviously, Villa had an average window, but I think they're doing all right in the league anyway. So it was arguable that, that one signing they made was
Sanson.
Yeah, Sanson, that's the one. But yeah, I think Brighton, maybe this new guy, he could come in, he could do a decent job, but I think maybe they could have put in another couple signings and maybe some championship players or some ex-Premier League players to, maybe strengthen them up a bit. So I think I'll put them in poor.
Well, just to talk about them quickly, I see, obviously, they got rid of Glenn Murray, who came to Forest to link up with Houghton, and the Caicedo bloke. I thought I saw a few Brighton fans on Twitter wanting him. So, I mean, it's if they wanted him. But yeah, I agree. They could have done a bit better. Yeah. Now, moving on to the next club, Burnley. I really think this was quite a poor window. I mean, they've got a very strong squad who have been together for quite a long time, so they obviously don't necessarily need to bring in a lot of players, but they brought in someone, Richard Nate or whatever, on a free. Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of him. I don't really know much about him, to be honest. And they got rid of a few players out on like releases and loans. I think maybe they could have done with another like Premier League like level person that they've signed. Like they signed Jack Cork a few years ago. Nothing really amazing, so I'm just going to put them in poor.
Yeah, I would agree with that, I think. And obviously next it is Chelsea. Once again, it is a little bit, substandard. They haven't brought anyone in. They've got rid of Fikayo Tomori on loan to AC Milan. I think there is an option to buy in the clause as well. And I'm sure a lot of Chelsea fans would be happy about that because I'm sure as a younger player, they're all, they'll want to keep him in. Danny Drinkwater's gone off to, what's that?
Some
Paso.
Turkish club or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be glad to see rid of him for a little bit. He's obviously been quite substandard for them. So, yeah, there's not really much we can judge them. They've sent out their usual frontier of loan players off to random clubs. So I think we're just going to have to go for Paul.
Yeah, I think if you were going to look at their transfers and obviously sending out Tomoria, and I don't think it was a massive possible buy clause that they inserted on the deal. So it could be a bit of a mistake there for Chelsea, but they do their business. It's a really weird business as we've seen with the loans. So they've obviously thought that they've got good enough things coming in, and with Tuchel now appointed, they reckon that they might be going after Sula from Bayern Munich in the summer. So getting rid of Tomori might not be that bad if they bring in a good replacement.
Definitely.
Next on the list, Crystal Palace. They brought in the striker Jean-Philippe Mateta for about 3 million, and to be honest, if he's as good as he is on FIFA, then they've got a good striker on their hands. I think they definitely needed another striker to, go alongside Ayew and Benteke. Obviously, not the greatest options up there.
Zaha can play up front as well. I
think.
Okay.
So Mateta, good striker. They sent out Max Meyer, I think, on a free transfer.
He's been released,
which was quite a surprise to see because I'm pretty sure he was one of the record signings the other year or two ago. But obviously, I don't think it really worked out for him. So I'm just going to put them in average because it was an okay season.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
Window even.
Next we have Everton.
Yeah, interesting one.
Yeah, it was a little bit, it's the standard releases of a lot of people on loan. You got Yannick Bolasie who's gone off to Middlesbrough, which is, still not managed to get into the Everton side, and Kane Tosin has gone on loan to Besiktas. So now I think, in terms of outs, it's a decent amount, taking stuff off the wage bill, obviously. And then I think it was on deadline day or something around then, they brought Joshua King in from Bournemouth, only on loan, but I do think that's actually a really good signing for them because, you can't rely on Calvert-Lewin all the time to stay unfit. And I think he probably would bring a little bit of dynamism to their attack, because obviously he's Premier League proven. He's a little bit quicker, shorter, more agile. And I think, he could be a great player for Everton. So I think based on the fact that they have brought him in on deadline day, it's something that they do need. I think I'd put him in decent.
Yeah, Josh King, quite a good deal. I don't think there was really any major links until deadline day of him going to Everton. I think he was looking elsewhere in the Premier League. Southampton were quite strongly linked with him. But I think, as you said, a good deal, especially as it's a good backup for Calvert-Lewin. Next on the list, Fulham. Scott Parker's team not doing brilliantly in the league. They've done some good few results. And they've brought in someone that I was quite surprised to see come in, is Josh Maja, that used to be at Sunderland, who obviously went off to Bordeaux from Sunderland, and he's been brought in on loan. I'm not really sure if there's an option to buy, but came in on loan. He's a good striker, but they also managed to send out a few more players on loan. Seri, the midfielder, has gone out on loan. Kamara, the striker.
Is it Anthony Knockaert? He still had a loan extension to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Good player. I don't know whether we'll be able to sign him properly in the summer because of his wages. But some good outgoings for them really on loan to clear out their squad. And I think Maja could bring a bit more excitement to their attack because they've got Mitrovic up there, and it's not that bad of a deal. So I'm actually I'm gonna put them in decent.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Leeds
United, they're having a decent season. They've got a team that isn't ridiculously injury prone. I don't think the whole team is built a lot around fitness and stamina. So I think they're right in that sort of department. They haven't actually brought anyone in. They've sent a few people out on loan. One per Connor Shaughnessy has been released, obviously, and J. Roy Grott, whoever that is, has been
one of their loans players.
The FL Osnabrück. So no business done in bringing players in, which I thought they probably could have done. Because there's always room for improvement in that team, I think. So yeah, I think I'd go for. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to go for Paul. If I've criticised other teams for not bringing in, I think I'll go Paul.
Yeah, I had a look at them, and I think the only players I could see coming in were two like really young players for their
Yeah.
academy. So as you said there, and as they've said in like punditry, that they've been consistently inconsistent, and I think they need to bring in a few good like high level players.
Hmm.
So next on the list, Leicester, as you said, they're about having no one brought in a poor
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Leicester brought no one in, which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't bring in a striker that could have gone up for Vardy behind Vardy
Hmm.
if he's not injured. But they've got Iheanacho, who's kind of good enough to be back
Yeah.
up. There isn't really many spaces that they could fill in that team, so I'm not going to put them in poor. I'm going to put them in average, just because I don't think they really needed massive improvements to the team, and well, they haven't added anything to the team, so
Yeah. No,
I'm
definitely.
in average.
Because I think some people may criticise us and say, "Oh, well, why have you put Leicester in average and these ones in poor when they've brought no one in and they've brought no one in?" But I think it's also based on how well they're doing. Like Leicester are doing well in the league anyway, so it's all sort of in context with everything. Anyway, obviously Liverpool now, the main two obviously being Ben Davies from Preston on a permanent transfer as a centre back, and then Ozan Kabak from Schalke. Obviously, I saw the what Paul Merson said about that Kabak guy, saying his agent probably deserves a knighthood because I think Schalke have won like one game this season or something. So the fact that they've managed to pull off a deal to get into the Champions is brilliant on their terms. I mean, I don't know whether they're going to improve Liverpool season. Obviously, it's slowly declining after that unfortunate loss to Brighton, which was really was brilliant. Yeah, but they went out and they did the business. It looked like they were about to sign about 15 different centre backs by deadline day, but they only got 2 in the end. So yeah, I think it's all right. Obviously, no one noteworthy going out apart from Minamino. Oh God, Minamino, who is probably sitting in his chair crying at that 9-0 defeat. He's like, "What have I got myself into here?" So yeah, I think sending him out could either give him experience or just solidify the fact that he's in total flop and not really a waste of money because he's quite cheap anyway. But I think it's an all right window for Liverpool. They went and got the job done, so I think I go average. Yeah, average.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the centre back options, you could have said that they could have got someone a bit more experienced in the Premier League, but I don't really see many experienced Premier League defenders wanting to come and sit on the bench for a team. Last season, you would have gone, all right, I'll sit on the bench for this team because they're more likely going to win the league. But this season, they're not looking very good. So I think most people they could have approached might have not been interested.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on, Man City. Guess what? It's another team with practically no incomings. They've sent out the loan brigade once again. They did bring one person in, Filip Stevinovic. Stevinovic came in for about 18 million. No, sorry, not 18 years old. 7 million.
Right, yeah. I was going to say
18-year-old for about 7 million. Obviously, it seems like a good player. They beat Manchester United to the signing, so I think it was close between them. But they immediately sent him out on loan, so he's clearly not good enough for Pep Guardiola's first team. So if it's not going to come into the first team, then there's not really much to say about it. So it's an average window. They don't really need any more strengthening. So
I think the team's all right as it is, to be honest.
Yeah, move over to the other side of Manchester.
Yeah, Man United, obviously now the deal for Amad Diallo has been completed after the summer. They signed him and now he's come back. I don't know how it actually works. Is he on loan there or something? I'm not really sure. But he's coming from Atlanta. And obviously they sent a few headline players out. Marcus Rojo's gone to Boca Juniors, permanent transfer. And you've got Tahith Chong. He's a club legend for me. His ultimate screen card in FIFA 20 was brilliant. But anyway, I digress. And then obviously Jesse Lingard, the interesting one, goes out on loan to West Ham and revitalised his Ronaldinho-esque performance and managed to get 2 goals in his debut, no matter how poor the saves were from Fabianski. It was Fabianski, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was against. Wait, no.
No, it was whoever.
Wait, that's the West Ham goalie. What's his name? I can't remember who they played. Pickford. Is it Pickford? I don't know. Anyway,
some random goalkeeper's poor performance.
Yeah,
I'll insert a name in the edit.
Yeah. And then obviously, Fosu Mensah's gone to Bayer Leverkusen. Interesting one. That was also on a permanent transfer. So apart from that, I think it's all right. I think Amad Diallo, who'll be a great signing. Obviously, he's a young player and he's got a lot of potential. So I think I'll put him in decent.
Yeah, I saw a thing that Diallo, when he signed, played in one of the under-18s games or whatever, and against Liverpool's under-19s and scored multiple goals
Yeah, he
against
scored a
them. So
Panenka penalty as well.
he's clearly a very good signing.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to Newcastle, they brought Josh Willock in, which, to be fair, from
Joe.
Arsenal, Joe, the wrong Willock. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll just say they brought Willock in. There you go. On loan from Arsenal, I think. Is it on loan?
Yeah, it
Either
was
way,
online.
he's a really good signing, I think, for them. It's a bit of energy for them. I mean, there's not really much that could go wrong with it. Their team isn't great anyway, so if he
Yeah.
doesn't perform well, then he's a like average player for them, and if he performs really well, then he's great. They sent out, I think they got rid of Yedlin, which was quite an interesting one. He's been there for a long time. Um, so there's not really much to shout about, as most of the teams haven't had in this window. So I think I've got to shove him in average.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough since they brought Willock in. Anyway, so off to Sheffield United now. I don't know if this is. I thought they would have had some sort of damage limitation. I thought they would have maybe brought someone in and tried to save their season, but it looks like maybe they're just preparing for defeat. Do you think? They haven't brought anyone in. They sent 3 people out on loan. I think it's probably going to be our first bad out of the video, as much as it, pains me to say it, but it clearly seems like the club or the board has decided they don't want to invest any money in the team right now. And maybe do you reckon this could be the end of Chris Wilder? I don't know if that is a thing we have to consider or not. Or
I from what I read the other day, it was that the owner, like Prince Abdullah or whatever, had said he'd got special permission to fly over to the UK to tell Chris Wilder that his job is safe, even if they get relegated. So
oh, really?
they obviously trust in him, and maybe the fact that he's not brought anyone in might just be to do with not having to bring in a new face, that they've got a strong squad for next season already, I guess, in the championship. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think from what I've heard, Wilder is staying.
Oh, okay.
So next team on the list, Southampton. They brought in Minamino, or as Bobby said, Minamino. They didn't really get rid of anyone worthy of mention. They can't really get much worse than the 9-0 defeat to United the other evening. So Minamino can only be a good signing for them, I think.
I think so as well.
He's a good, talented player. I don't think he got any decent game time at Liverpool that, could help him show his talent. But we saw when he was at Salzburg that he'd got quality. So I think it's a really good signing for them. So I'm just going to put him in decent.
All right, fair enough.
Mighty Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham Hotspur. Great.
Yes.
Once again, no one's come in.
Wait.
But we have the releases of quite a few amount of people. Obviously, their old Argentine goalkeeper's gone out on loan to Elche. Wait, does that say Mauricio Pochettino?
Oh, his son, yeah.
Is it his son? All right, okay.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused there. And apart from that, no one that noteworthy from Spurs. And I think, they're Tottenham. They don't really need that much. What's the word? Improvement in their team.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe, I don't know. I think it's just going to have to be an average one. Maybe, actually, arguably, it could have been poor because their form at the moment has not actually been that good. I'm definitely going to get some call-outs because I've put Arsenal in decent and Tottenham in poor, but I don't care.
Yeah, it would be the first time Arsenal finish above Spurs in a while.
We make the video.
Then we've got 3 teams left. So West Brom first. I'm actually quite impressed with their window.
Same.
Allardyce has brought in the mighty Snodgrass from West Ham. Maitland-Niles has come in.
I think it's probably the key one, isn't it? I think that is a signing maybe on half of Arsenal because they want him to get game time. But also, I think that is a really good signing from West Brom.
Yeah, and they brought in as a striker Umbe Diagne. He would link with Forest in the summer, I think. That's the level of striker you're looking at. But apart from that, there's some good transfers in there, and I think it shows that they've got the passion to stay up, the ownership.
Yeah, I do. I agree
and
with
that they
yeah.
trust in Allardyce by bringing in Snodgrass. So I'm actually going to put them, I'm going to put them in strong because I think that is quite a good.
Put it in strong.
I'm putting in strong.
I think it could be because it could either work both ways.
Mm.
Because either they bring all these players in, they start clicking, and then maybe the saving grace is on for like the last end of the season, or they could bring them in, they all do nothing, and West Brom get relegated again.
And I look like a total mug. So it's it's a statement. Bobby put Spurs in poor, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put West Brom in strong. What are you going to say about West Ham, Bobby?
I don't know. When we covered Sebastian Haller and obviously the West Ham video, go check that out. That was our last upload, all things West Ham, link in bio. But anyway, we thought that they bought Haller for 30 million. It was actually 40, but they did sell him for 20 million. So obviously they're clearing up the space there. He clearly wasn't working. And then obviously Robert Snodgrass, who's gone to West Brom. He's been at the club for a long time. Yeah, sad to see. Winston Bree's gone out to Brentford on loan. I'm not sure how Matthew will feel about that. And then obviously the incomings are the main ones. I mean, finalising the Ben Rama deal. Obviously that's fantastic move. He's a quality player. Jesse Lingard could be the signing of the century because West Ham, the title charge is on, ladies and gentlemen. And Frederick Alves from Silkeborg, I have no idea that is. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go strong.
Oh, look at that!
I'm just gonna say
the Wests are in strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how we're now all like hyping up Jesse Lingard after one game.
Yeah.
But
it's
amusing.
It's a bit fun, isn't it?
Anyway, our last team is Wolves. Not as interesting of a window. They brought in Willian Jose up top on loan. Obviously, Jimenez is out at the moment because of the head injury that he had. They sent out a few youngsters, the Luke Matheson that they brought a few years ago from like Rochdale, whatever's gone out on loan. It's a few decent out there. I think maybe Wolves could add a few more quality players in there because they're not doing brilliantly.
It's difficult because obviously Jimenez is out. He was one of their key players. Johnny's out. He's been out for a long time and he's also one of their key players. And then obviously Diogo Jota's gone. And I think the Wolves team is lacking something at the minute. After watching them against Chelsea, I was like, this team doesn't look the same as it did a little while ago with like their attacking,
power.
What's the word? Power. Yeah. Obviously, of course, they had to refine their form against Arsenal, or some could argue it was Craig Pawson, but that's for another video. Anyway, I think. Wait, who's deciding this one? I can't remember.
Me.
Is it all right? Where are you going to put Wolverhampton Wanderers?
I was going to put them in average because they didn't really. They added a decent.
I'd agree with that.
They brought in a decent striker. They didn't have massive adjustments needed. I think they could have brought in a few more players. That's why they're not indecent. But it's not a bad window for them. They got in a good striker to cover for Jimenez, and it's only on loan, so it's not a massive financial commitment. But
I agree. Do you reckon? Before we end it, do you think, looking at the list, is there anything you'd want to change, or are you certain about it?
I mean, looking at it, I think it's a pretty fair representation. I mean, I've never seen Arsenal this high up a table in a while, but I agree with all of it. It looks quite strong to me. So
I think it just sort of sums up the transfer window, doesn't it? There's a lot in the decent, average, and poor, which just shows it's been a bit of an average window, to be honest.
And I think it also shows the type of window that the January one is, that most big clubs will bring in their massive signings that they've desperately needed in the summer. And I think the January is for small clubs, like smaller down clubs like West Brom, West Ham, Arsenal. So it's kind of shows it there. The big clubs in average, Chelsea, the tiny club, in poor, along with Spurs. So I think that is really fair representation. Let us all know what you think about that. Make sure to share the video with all your friends, because why not? Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's make sure that Arsenal can never finish this eye up a league table. Thank you, everybody.
And click the post notification bell, everyone.
Yeah, because then you get updated every time that we post a video or any type of content.
Exactly.
And watch out.
Have we got the little animation? Is that coming up in this video?
I'll put it up now. Watch out, we might be doing some live streams soon, but we'll alert you all of that on the Final Whistle Instagram page. Make sure you go follow that and the Twitter. Thank you everybody for listening. That was the Final Whistle.